That's a good question. Can you show exactly what you did to Ali at Euros where you came up and had his ankle completely trapped? So what happened with Ali at Europeans was Ali is very flexible. And so he tried to take his ankle out of the worm guard. So I'm pretty sure it was like this. Not an exact recollection of the events, but here I had worm. And when I went for a reverse delta worm here, he brought his knee across like this. And whenever someone tries to step their leg out, like he could step it all the way out by doing this. And if that happens, it's not the end of the world. I would just try and set back up lapel guard, no big deal. But I know that this is a common reaction. And I know that once I'm here, there's only really two things he can do. He can either put a ton of pressure or he can take his leg out. So when I feel someone start to take their leg out, I just pinch my foot really tight on their ankle. Because he can slide his shin pretty far, but once it gets to his foot, if I just create a little bit more tightness here, it's not going to work as effectively. He can't just pull his foot all the way through the smaller hole I just created. So what happened is Ollie dropped this knee to the mat, and I don't know how flexible Miha is, but he was here. And I don't know if you can see between Miha's legs, but I have his ankle trapped in this position here. Let's rotate a little so you can see. We'll replicate it here. So here, reverse delta worm, he brings the knee up, I trap it, and he brings the knee down to the mat. Now from this position, look how out of position he is here. All I did was take my foot out, and even if he wanted to try and pass my guard here, it's gonna be pretty tough because I've got his ankle. As long as I can just tuck my head in, he's gonna be in a tough spot. And he continued to try and sprawl, and I just got up with his leg, and it doesn't matter how much bigger and stronger and better at takedowns he is than me because I just got his ankle trapped so tight. And his ankle was trapped, and I pinned it up and over like this. But this grip kind of goes into the platinum worm passing position, so there's a lot you can do with these different grips and set them up in different ways. And if you saw in that match, I kept the grip, continued using it to score points and pass, and then eventually used it to actually attack the back as well. So there's a lot you can do from there. Every single high-level grappler will wipe the floor with anyone in a street fight that isn't like a highly trained MMA fighter. Like it goes highly trained MMA fighters, then it goes highly trained jiu-jitsu fighters, then it goes wrestlers, then it goes boxers, and then it goes everyone else in the world. And so everyone on YouTube is fit into that everyone else in the world category. So trust me, they're much better trained than you.
In the world, I'll bite you.
They'll bite you too. That's the thing. It's like the biting goes both ways, but they'll just bite you from a better position. Like if you want to get eye gouged, if you want to eye gouge a highly trained athlete, they're just going to rip both your eyes out. Like you're just asking to die. Like you're just foregoing any chance of surviving the street fight against this person. That's what I'm telling you. Like you might injure them, yes, but you will die. Like that's what it comes down to. They will choke you to death and you will die.
Can you show the best position to bite?
Probably the back. You
just like
you
the
just
neck.
Go for the neck. Yeah.
Like you don't need to bite because it's not gonna kill. Like if someone bites you, it's not gonna kill you.
Well.
I mean, like maybe
with that attitude.
Kicking.
Dude, I have this discussion with Emma all the time. Kicking the groin. I'm like, you in a self-defense situation,
Yeah, try.
you can kick me as hard as you can. I'll still kill you.
Yeah, like I will get kicked in the balls and kill you still. Like I've been kneed in the balls really hard, and it's like, it's pain. But if you're in a life or death scenario, it's not going to incapacitate you.
It just makes
It just will hurt, and you will fight really hard and kill the other person with some sort of effective jiu-jitsu choke, and then you'll deal with the pain. And I think people who haven't actually been in like scenarios where they actually have to fight super hard, and that sensation, like jiu-jitsu sensation, the street fight sensation, that like urgency and that like fear, you get that in a training room with someone who's really high level. Like it's almost like simulating that same feeling every day, or in competition, you're simulating that feeling. And someone who doesn't do that all the time is going to be so unfamiliar with the feeling of adrenaline and the feeling of fighting hard and pushing your body to the extreme. Like just the fact that they train so much more than you, it makes them so much more prepared for a street fight scenario. It's hard to like, I don't know why it's hard for people to grasp that.
I think what they're referring to is the concrete on the street, possibility of multiple attackers,
Right.
weapons, like you doing your thing and someone comes from behind, hits you with a shovel or something.
Yeah,
you
but
know,
I mean,
like
if
that kind of stuff.
but it's like nothing is going to protect you against that. So it's like you have to think about things that are in your control. Like what scenario are we actually talking about in a street fight?
I got
Let- the-
someone really-
if you're in a situation where someone is escalating it and he's there with his buddies, do not fight them.
Yeah.
Like leave the situation. If you have to fight for your life, that's a different story. If someone is attacking you to like beat you up and they're going to attack you, then you fight as hard as you can.
I think like walking away from a fight is one of the hardest things you can do. It's harder than beating someone's ass. Like if you have someone that's like being provocative, they're trying to attack you, and you just do the bigger thing, you walk away. That's harder than actually kicking their ass.
Especially if you train a lot and you're like, I trained for this, and then you feel like a bitch afterwards. If that's what the goal is, to stay out of those situations, because you might accidentally kill someone. You could. It's not a good situation. Adults don't get in fights in a street. It's really like an assault situation. If you're being assaulted, that's different than a street fight. Like I feel like this, like we're talking about it from a different perspective for some people on the internet maybe. But when I think of street fight, I think it's like one dude, he's got a problem with you on the sidewalk, and he kind of like makes a move.
Okay, I get you.
You know, like if we're talking about in a bar, it's like no, I'm not going to grapple some dude if like he's trying to kill me with a bottle. You know, like if he like tries to hit me with a bottle, I'm probably going to try and disengage and then hit him with a chair or something, you know? And the fact that I am like in better shape and have cardio, like I could probably win these altercations even if it doesn't directly involve jiu-jitsu. The Bass Root and Bar Tactics is a good video. Have you seen those videos?
Yeah,
Where he's in the bar.
So good.
That's a great example. And then Bass Root is actually the master of explaining this stuff, because there's one thing where he talks about how he like has a girl in a rear naked choke or something, or he's like demonstrating. Did you hear this story? You should gotta watch this video if you guys can find it. Bass Rutten is like demonstrating a rear naked choke in some self-defense scenario, and some girl is like, "Well, I would just bite you," and he's like, "Oh yeah, you would bite me? Okay, like come on, like come here, come demonstrate." And she like comes into it. He takes her back and he goes to put on the rear naked choke, and he says, "Okay," and she's like, "Okay, yeah, I'm gonna try and bite you." And he's like, "All right, if you bite me, I'm gonna fucking kill you, or I'm gonna break your jaw." He says, "If you bite me, I'm gonna break your jaw." And she's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, if you bite me, I'm gonna break your jaw." And so she's like, "Wait, what?" And it's true. If the second someone opens your mouth to bite you from that scenario, like your jaw is broken. Like it's an entirely different thing. And it's like how when we're training in here for the street fight videos, it's like we're thinking about like what you could do. Like if you are in like a crazy spastic situation where someone's throwing punches at you, you could grab their material and judo throw them, or do something. If you like trip over something and you're on your back, you could potentially grab the material and use it to like scramble out or sweep or something. Thoughts about lockdown reverse De La Riva? Bro, I don't know. I haven't seen that. Basically, if you're learning about techniques and then you go and watch the recent high-level competition in no-gi and you don't see anyone doing it, it's probably not that effective. Like go watch your favorite grapplers that are fighting at ADCC and no-gi worlds in the black belt division and look at what techniques they're pulling off. Because if you don't see a lot of people doing it, it's not confirmed, you know? Like you can still make it work yourself, but I think you should be okay. Yeah, anyone can use any move, and people can have like their own little spin on things that they like, and that's what they do in training and stuff. But I think just for an overall understanding and like actually getting better at jiu-jitsu, you kind of need to stick to the moves that are functional and working. And there's room for experimentation and improvising there. But if you're gonna try and do some sort of like exotic move that you thought looked cool, don't expect to win your rounds with it. Like don't expect to be good overall. I don't know if that makes sense. But there's a lot of like guess and check going on in people's personal jiu-jitsu journey, and something that I did as well. I tried every move basically that I could find, everything. And what I realized is it's a lot of what you see on the internet is just people making stuff up. And if you're not really, It's doing people a I'm not saying that Firas Zahabi is making stuff up, okay? Let me make that very clear. I'm just using this as an example. I haven't seen the move. Maybe it's like really effective and I haven't even seen it. But it's better if you're looking for positions to actually improve, look at the best guys and what they're doing and try and learn those systems and those techniques. If you want to win. If you're just trying to have fun, go on the internet, try all the moves, and that's fun for sure. I'm pretty sure this still has the same weaknesses as most other reverse de la Riva, and I'm not a big fan of reverse de la Riva already. Like, it's just not a good position. Reverse de la Riva is not effective against high-level passers. And so there's a disconnect, and maybe my perspective is skewed because of that, because I train with so many high-level guys that I see what really works and what doesn't, and I'm not sure who Firas's training partners are and what level they're at, but I know for a fact that if you go into a high-level room and try and play any sort of reverse de la Riva guard, you're probably going to get smashed. How the DDS system of guard is more about sit-up guard, and if they're on their back, they're really playing butterfly and half guard, like a butterfly half. It's all about trying to elevate the person, and this reverse de la Riva position that Firas is doing also does that. And I'm sure he has some great insights on it actually, like how to do these off balances, how to do these things. But I played, like, most of my no-gi career, I played reverse de la Riva guard. Like, I sunk countless hours into playing reverse de la Riva and guards where you play flat on your back. And it worked very well for a very long time. I was successful in a lot of no-gi competitions with it. But techniques change over time, and passing changes. And if you're not training with the very best guys, you don't necessarily see that incremental change over time that can nullify techniques that were once considered optimal even. It doesn't change as much. But let's talk about from a standing position. If someone does try and blindside you, but you're prepared for it, and someone rushes at you, we need to keep our hands up. This is actually more striking basics, but luckily for you, I do know these basics, all right? If someone's gonna come at you crazy, you do need to keep your hands up, okay? The main goal is to protect your jaw and ears. Your head is very hard. If you get punched in the head, it's unlikely it's gonna knock you unconscious. It'll probably just break their hand if they actually do it. It'll hurt like hell, and it's not gonna feel good. But you really need to prioritize your jaw and face. Like this area here is where you're trying to not get hit. You get hit in the eye, yeah, it's gonna suck really bad, and it could break your orbital. But you're still protecting your eyes, obviously, but you need to see and not be able to obstruct your vision. It's very dangerous to just cover your face like this while someone's unloading on you with a flurry, because you can't ever get like a chance to disengage and come back, all right? You guys gotta stop talking about Williams guard. I promise you it's not game changing. And no offense to Sean Williams, all right? So my hands are gonna be up, and I want this shoulder tucked here to avoid getting punched here. So even if my hand, even if he like parries this hand down and moves it out of the way, like say you just move this hand down and then throw a strike, I still need to have my shoulder ready to shoulder roll to absorb these impacts, okay? So shoulder tucked, chin tucked, hands up here like this. Now, if someone tries to engage, I want inside control. The same thing, and I also need to be kind of like crunched down, protecting my abdomen as well. You don't stand straight like this because you can't get hit in the ribs or in the body, and this is gonna suck, okay? So you need to kind of have a posture where your shoulder's protecting your jaw, is protecting from straight strikes as well with your hand kind of in front of your face, and the right hand is here to avoid any strikes or kicks that could happen from the other direction. And if he's trying to throw to the body, and I feel that opportunity, I can kind of tuck my elbow and absorb strikes here. Of course, if we're striking whatever, you could be striking back, that's a different story, but we're talking about how to engage and defend. You always want to engage after the strike is thrown. I'm not going to engage while his hands are up waiting for me, because if he's here and I try and grab him, that's how you're going to get hit in the face, right? You need to make sure that you're waiting or setting up your engagement just how you would set up a shot. So if he throws a strike first, after he throws a powerful move, this is the opportunity to grab, right, after he throws a strike. So you kind of have to be ready to get hit, absorb that impact, and then we're closing the distance. Body lock is probably your best bet. Body lock is good because I can put my head underneath his chin here. If my head is underneath his chin, he's not going to be able to headbutt me, right? My forehead is in proper position. My shoulder's tucked. I can avoid getting punched in the jaw from this position. And then I would be trying to move around his back. Any sort of takedown will work here that you're comfortable with, but I would always be trying to move here. I keep my head close to his back so I don't get spinning elbowed or head butted from behind here. I'm keeping my hips close so I don't get kicked in the balls or anything like that. And then the simplest way to bring someone to the ground is just doing a little knee nudge. That's what it's called. I bring my knee to his knee. I put all his weight on his foot so he can't step. And I just buckle that by tapping his knee inward to bring someone down to the ground. And now we're in a position where I can control, keeping my head close until I'm ready to go back to my more offensive striking position. Okay? And remember, if he extends his arms and does anything other than defend his face, that would be the time to unload those straight strikes, potentially clear this arm and trap it here. Wrist control is very effective.
My dad's a lawyer.
Watch Tony come back with Williams guard. You guys are so obnoxious.
I want to bend the whole chat at once.
They're just doing it to mess with me now. This control here is very effective in a scenario like this. And I want to put my knees. One thing you can do as well is use shin pins to help protect your knees as well. If you use a shin pin, it'll keep your knee off the ground as he kind of bucks and moves around. Now both arms are trapped. I have this arm trapped as well. He has no option here other than to try and... What are you trying to do here? He's got a knife. He's got some sort of sharp utensil that you just pulled out of your pocket. What is this, a screwdriver? You psychopath. I've been surprise attacked. Luckily, I have wrist control. I've identified the threat. If he tries to pass this knife off that he just suddenly pulled out of his pocket, unbeknownst to me, one thing that I do know about knife defense is sometimes you have to grab the blade of a knife because it's the only thing you can grab, and it's better to get your hand cut than get stabbed in the organs. All right? Luckily, I was able to isolate the wrist, disarm, disengage, and call for help. I really had no idea who was going to try and...
Yeah, I picked that up on the way there. It's very clever, huh?
Yes. All right, we're going to talk about the force choke now. This has been needing to be reshot anyway. So someone had a question about setting up the force choke from the lapel guard, but it's not really a lapel guard setup. And I don't know if the YouTube chat here is familiar with the force choke, but this is an illegal technique. So you're not allowed to do this in IBJJF competition, okay? However, no one in the gym is going to DQ you for this, and it's not dangerous to your partner, not any more dangerous than any other choke, okay? It is incredibly sneaky and can be done from almost any position, even if you're just getting your ass kicked completely. If you're on bottom side control or bottom mount, if you manage to set up this grip, you can use the force choke to submit your opponent. And very few people know about it, and there's a lot of ways to disguise what you're doing. And this is why sneaky submissions like this are fun, because there's almost like a layer of subterfuge that you're trying to trick your partner and not really let them know what you're trying to set up. So let's talk about it. So come on this side, knees are on your knees facing me. When you're playing guard against someone who's really good, okay? Let's say they're just pressure passing you and kind of messing you up. An over the back grip can be really strong to defend, just from like butterfly or anything like that. Let's just assume that I wasn't able to set up an open guard. My layers of guard have been compressed. He's immediately starting to pass my guard in a position like this. Maybe I'm getting side smashed. We've all been here. I don't really have a lot of options to the rest of his body, but there is an option here with his gi, okay? What I do is I pull his whole gi up and I wind it up into like a rope here, like this. I bunch all the material up, including his collar. I put my thumb in the collar here. Can you get a shot of that, Emma? Thumb goes in the collar. All the material, oh, don't mind this. Oh, this. What does that say, Emma? Is that lapelguard.com for $141 for the entire crisis we're in? Okay, back to the video. Here, I'm bunching this material up so I can hold it in one hand. I want to connect my fingers. My middle finger and my thumb are connecting. I want this whole thing, just one big mass of material. And I'm doing that, one, because it's a great grip to relieve pressure. Here, so I can slow down his ability to pass, and I can use both hands in this. It's very strong to use this as a grip, okay? But what I actually want to do is put pressure away from him so he drives into me more. When he drives into me more, I put the hand back, the bottom arm. My bottom arm is back. he's pressuring in, but that pressure that he puts into me opens up a space here. So the very pressure that I put, or the defense that I'm putting here, makes him drive into me, which actually opens up material. Let's rotate this way, Miha. Look at this space that opens up here. It's significant. It's enough to get your arm completely through, okay? Just putting your arm like this is a really effective grip because it's pretty hard for him to actually continue passing because I have such a strong frame and it keeps his body so low from being able to move up into me and actually continue passing my guard. So I continue resisting. This makes the person want to pressure into you even more. And then you can push at the head here and then move your hand in front of his neck like this. Once I move my hand in front of his neck, I want to keep his face over my hand. Now, I'm underneath his chin like this. And at this point, if he continues pressuring, I have a really solid frame on his neck. And he's probably going to want to start backing away from this pressure, which actually makes it even tighter. So when he starts backing away, I use my other hand to get this grip on the collar here. Can you see that, Emma? I get this grip on the collar and I make a strong, tight fist. Posture up a little so they can see this. Miha, see this? This is the force choke. Yeah, it's incredibly tight. The more he moves in or away, the tighter it gets. Now that's why this choke is especially devious because, can you just go to sleep already so I can keep teaching this, Miha, please? All right, so let me try and grab this looser so Miha doesn't die. All right, so it's so tight that Miha can't even resist it. So I'm gonna get a loose version. I won't even grab because once you connect this, it's just choking. Now what's really crazy about this position is literally no matter where he goes, the choke gets tighter. No matter where he goes. He could pass my guard, he could jump up and run it that way. He does anything he does, he will get choked once I have this grip. And it's called the force choke because once you secure this grip, and I'll just grab like lower on here maybe. I'll just do the wrong way. So say I grab the wrong way here so Miha doesn't choke to death. Most people try and back away, and a lot of times they even stand up. When he stands up, this is why it's called the force choke, because you literally choke him with one hand like you're Darth Vader. And if he turns away, it still chokes him. That's what's crazy. If he turns away, he gets choked. If he turns in, he gets choked. If he drops down, he gets choked. It doesn't matter. And it's all just with getting this grip, but I'm not grabbing it because it's killing him, okay? But that grip right here, this, it's pretty much over. So this works also from close guard. If you don't want to use it as like a defensive movement, if you're in close guard, you can set this up really effectively as well. Because you're here in close guard, I like to use over the back grips already. And I can bunch the material up like this and control it with both my hands. This will help me control his posture. And then if I see the opportunity, I get my hand through and he may not even know that I'm trying to set up a force choke. But it helps me escape my hips to this side. I can clear the head and bring my hand in front of the neck. Now, if he wants to face me again, that's where he's going to be in trouble because I'm going to be able to secure this choke from this position. Once I grab that collar there with my palm down, my thumb down, grabbing this way, not like a cross choke, it's this way. And then you just straighten your arm and he chokes.
Boss, I think if you're training jiu-jitsu in the middle of nowhere, there's not a lot of world-class instructors in the middle of nowhere, so probably you're having a problem getting a lot of good sparring partners and really good instruction. So what I would recommend is sign up to Keenan online, learn from this guy to supplement that, and then try to make some travel plans for whenever you come and come to Legion train with us here when we're open again.
They're going at it.
Hey, we don't have live rolls today. We have live puppy fights.
Oh, he got too intense for you? He started backing out. He's like, I don't want any more of this.
Hold me, human, hold me.
Talk about jiu-jitsu. Dude, he's going to be so relaxed when he's an adult because he's just been thrown around his whole life.
Tag, you're it.